God says, listen carefully, not with fear, not with pressure, but with calm awareness, because this message is not about panic or loss, it is about preparation and alignment. When we speak of a divine transfer, it is not about money falling from the sky or something being taken away if you miss a moment. It is about a shift. It is about a spiritual, emotional, and life alignment that has been building quietly behind the scenes of your life. You have been through seasons where you felt overlooked, where effort felt unseen, where your prayers felt unanswered, where your growth felt slow and invisible. But nothing has been wasted. Every tear, every late night of thinking, every moment you chose growth over bitterness has been recorded in ways you cannot fully see. And now, something is shifting in your favor. Archangel Michael represents courage, protection, clarity, and divine strength. When we speak in his voice, we are speaking about the awakening of your inner warrior, the part of you that refused to quit even when life felt heavy. The 10 p.m. tonight is not about a clock on the wall, it is symbolic of a turning point. It represents a moment of transition from one state of being into another. It represents the closing of a chapter that tested you and the beginning of one that reveals why you had to endure it. You were never meant to stay stuck in confusion. You were never meant to remain in survival mode forever. You were meant to grow through it and step into something stronger. This divine transfer is not about external luck, it is about internal readiness. There are things you once prayed for that you were not ready to handle. There were opportunities that would have overwhelmed you in the past. There were blessings that required a stronger mindset, a calmer heart, and deeper self-awareness. That is what this season has been building inside you. You have matured emotionally. You have learned to protect your peace. You have learned to walk away from what drains you. You have learned to recognize your worth. And now, because of that growth, you are capable of receiving what once would have felt too big for you. Nothing you were meant to receive can be stolen by missing a message. Nothing truly aligned with your destiny can be erased by a moment of distraction. What is meant for you remains connected to you through your growth and alignment. But awareness matters. Reflection matters. Intention matters. If you ignore growth, if you ignore your own development, then opportunities can pass unnoticed. Not because they were taken from you, but because you were not looking in the right direction. That is why this message invites you to pause and pay attention to your life. Not with fear, but with clarity. At 10 p.m. tonight, when the world grows quieter and the noise fades, take a moment for yourself. Reflect on who you have become. Reflect on what you have survived. Reflect on the habits you have changed, the boundaries you have built, the strength you have developed. That is the transfer. The transfer is from doubt to confidence, from chaos to clarity, from desperation to stability. It is the movement from asking, "Why is this happening to me?" to declaring, "I understand why I had to grow through this." It is the realization that the season of struggle was never punishment, it was preparation. Archangel Michael's message is not about fear of loss, it is about awareness of readiness. Everything you are meant to receive is drawn to the version of you that is aligned, disciplined, emotionally balanced, and spiritually grounded. You are becoming that version. That is why you feel different. That is why you no longer react the way you used to. That is why certain environments no longer feel comfortable. Growth creates separation from old patterns. That separation may have felt lonely at times. But it was necessary. You cannot step into new blessings while holding on to old limitations. The divine transfer is also about identity. You are transferring from seeing yourself as someone who is struggling to survive into someone who is capable of leading, building, creating, and inspiring. The energy around you is shifting because your perception is shifting. You are no longer accepting less than you deserve. You are no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You are beginning to understand your value in a deeper way. That understanding changes everything. It changes how you speak. It changes how you decide. It changes what you tolerate. And when your standards rise, your life rises with them. Nothing will be lost forever simply because you scroll away from a message. But growth can be delayed if you ignore reflection. That is the real warning hidden inside many spiritual messages. Not that something will be taken from you, but that self-awareness cannot grow if you constantly distract yourself. Tonight is symbolic. It is an invitation. An invitation to sit with your thoughts. An invitation to listen to your intuition. An invitation to recognize that you are stepping into a new level of maturity and stability. You were never forgotten. You were never bypassed. You were being built. The transfer is already happening inside you. It is happening in the way you think. It is happening in the way you protect your peace. It is happening in the way you believe that better is possible without forcing it. That is divine timing. That is alignment. That is growth. So instead of feeling pressure, feel preparation. Instead of feeling fear, feel focus. Instead of worrying about loss, recognize the strength you have gained. Because what is truly meant for you is connected to your evolution, and your evolution is already in motion. The transfer is not something coming from the outside. It is the upgraded version of you rising from within. And once that version fully steps forward, nothing aligned with your destiny can ever be lost. There is a reason your spirit has felt restless lately, a quiet stirring inside you that you could not fully explain, a sense that something is shifting even if nothing dramatic has happened on the outside yet, and this feeling is not random, it is not imagination, it is the natural result of growth that has been taking place beneath the surface of your everyday life, growth that was invisible to others but deeply real within you. When we speak of a divine transfer, we are speaking about a transition of identity, a movement from one level of awareness to another, a moment where your mindset, your emotional strength, and your spiritual clarity begin to align in a new way, and that alignment starts changing everything slowly but powerfully. You may have noticed that certain conversations no longer interest you. Certain conflicts no longer trigger you, certain people no longer have the same access to your emotions, and that is not coldness, it is maturity, it is your inner protection system becoming stronger, it is your standards quietly rising without you needing to announce them to the world. The message about 10:00 p.m. tonight is not about a magical event that will shock you or something being permanently lost if you miss a second, it is about awareness, it is about choosing to consciously step into the next version of yourself instead of unconsciously drifting through another day. So many people move through life on autopilot, reacting, complaining, repeating patterns, wondering why nothing changes, but you are being invited into something different, you are being invited into intention. The divine transfer represents a crossing point between who you were and who you are becoming, and every major transformation in life begins internally before it becomes visible externally. You have been shedding doubt layer by layer, even when you did not realize it. You have been learning lessons through disappointments, you have been gaining wisdom through silence, you have been building resilience through moments that once would have broken you. There was a time when rejection would have shattered your confidence for weeks, when criticism would have lived in your mind rent-free, when uncertainty would have paralyzed you, but now something inside you handles those situations differently. You may still feel emotion, you may still feel discomfort, but you do not collapse the way you once did, and that is evidence of growth. The divine transfer is the recognition of that growth. It is the moment you stop underestimating yourself and begin acknowledging how far you have actually come. You survived things that nobody truly understood, you carried burdens silently, you held yourself together when nobody applauded you, and you kept moving even when you felt tired. That strength was not accidental, it was built, and now it is ready to support something bigger. Sometimes blessings are delayed not because you are forgotten but because you are being prepared. If certain opportunities had arrived 2 years ago, you might have sabotaged them out of insecurity. If certain doors had opened earlier, you might have walked through them with the wrong mindset, and timing matters because growth matters. You are entering a phase where your decisions are becoming more intentional, where your goals are becoming clearer, where your energy is becoming more disciplined. You are less interested in impressing others and more focused on building something meaningful. You are less concerned with proving yourself and more committed to improving yourself. That shift alone changes your trajectory. The divine transfer also involves clarity about relationships. You are beginning to see who truly supports you and who only benefits from your presence. You are noticing patterns you once ignored. You are recognizing when your energy feels drained and when it feels uplifted. That awareness is powerful because it allows you to choose environments that nourish your growth rather than sabotage it. You do not need dramatic exits or loud confrontations. Sometimes growth simply means quietly stepping back from what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. That quiet decision can protect your peace more than any argument ever could. At 10:00 p.m. tonight, whether you are alone in your room or surrounded by noise, take a few minutes to sit in stillness. Reflect on the version of you from 1 year ago. Notice how much stronger you are emotionally. Notice how your thinking has matured. Notice how you are more aware of your patterns. This reflection is not about ego, it is about gratitude for your own evolution. When you recognize your growth, you reinforce it. When you acknowledge your strength, you strengthen it further. That is how the transfer becomes real in your life. It becomes a conscious commitment to step fully into your upgraded mindset rather than slipping back into old habits out of comfort. You are not losing anything that is truly meant for you. What is aligned with your path cannot disappear because you missed a notification or looked away from a screen. What can be delayed, however, is your own readiness if you refuse to evolve. The true message is about discipline and awareness. It is about protecting your focus. It is about understanding that your energy is valuable and should not be scattered everywhere. When you guard your attention, you guard your future. When you guard your mindset, you guard your opportunities. This is the deeper meaning behind the urgency, not fear, but focus. There is also a financial and practical side to this transformation. You are being called to think differently about resources, about planning, about long-term stability. Instead of chasing quick wins, you are learning to value consistency. Instead of reacting emotionally to temporary setbacks, you are starting to think strategically. This mindset is what builds real security. The divine transfer includes financial maturity, emotional stability, and spiritual clarity working together instead of separately. When those three areas align, your life begins to feel less chaotic and more intentional. You are stepping into a phase where your confidence will not come from external validation but from internal certainty. That is a powerful shift because external validation is unstable, it changes with opinions, trends, and moods, but internal certainty is steady. Once you know who you are and what you stand for, you stop being easily shaken. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop shrinking to fit expectations that do not align with your values. That confidence attracts the right opportunities and repels the wrong ones automatically. The divine transfer is also about peace. You have been carrying unnecessary worry about the future, replaying worst-case scenarios in your mind, questioning whether you are doing enough, but growth requires trust. Not blind trust, but grounded trust in your own effort and progress. You are building momentum even on days when it feels slow. You are planting seeds through discipline, learning, and persistence. Seeds do not grow overnight, but they do grow when consistently cared for. Your habits are your seeds. Your mindset is your soil. Your focus is your water. Continue nurturing them and the results will appear at the right time. Do not interpret urgency as threat. Interpret it as reminder. Life moves quickly, and moments of awareness are precious. When you are conscious about your direction, you move with purpose instead of drifting. This is your reminder to stay aligned with the version of you that you are becoming. Protect your energy. Protect your time. Protect your peace. Invest in skills that increase your value. Surround yourself with conversations that challenge you to grow. Release the need to prove yourself to people who do not understand your vision. The divine transfer is already unfolding. It is visible in your calm reactions, in your clearer boundaries, in your stronger self-respect. It is visible in the way you no longer tolerate what once felt normal. It is visible in the way you are beginning to believe that you deserve stability, success, and healthy relationships. This belief is the foundation of everything that follows. When you believe you are worthy of better, you begin making choices that reflect that belief. Those choices change your environment. That environment shapes your future. Tonight symbolizes a decision. A decision to commit to your higher standard. A decision to let go of excuses that kept you small. A decision to forgive yourself for past mistakes and move forward wiser instead of ashamed. Growth does not require perfection. It requires persistence. You are not required to have everything figured out, you are required to keep learning. And you are doing that. Quietly, steadily, intentionally. This is your season of alignment. Not noise, not panic, not fear of loss, but clarity, discipline, and steady growth. The transfer is the upgraded version of you stepping forward confidently. When you step forward with that mindset, doors will open naturally because you will be prepared to walk through them. Keep your heart steady, keep your focus sharp, and remember that what is truly meant for you cannot be lost, but it can be strengthened by your awareness and commitment. There comes a point in every person's journey when growth is no longer just about surviving but about stepping fully into alignment with who they were always meant to become, and you are standing at that exact point right now. The divine transfer is not a sudden explosion of events or a dramatic moment that shocks your world overnight. It is a deep internal crossing where your identity begins to match your potential, where your mindset starts reflecting the future you desire instead of the fears you carried in the past. For a long time you have been building quietly, sometimes doubting yourself, sometimes questioning whether your effort was even visible, but unseen progress is still progress, and much of what has been forming in you has been internal strength, emotional regulation, patience, and clarity. These qualities may not look impressive on the outside, yet they are the foundation for every stable success that lasts. You are no longer reacting the same way you used to, you are pausing before responding, you are thinking before speaking, you are observing before judging, and that subtle change alone shows that you are not the same person you once were. There were seasons when you felt overlooked, when it seemed like others were moving faster, achieving more, receiving recognition while you were still figuring things out, and comparison tried to convince you that you were behind. But growth is not a race, and preparation is often invisible. The divine transfer means that what once felt like delay is now revealed as development. You are learning resilience through disappointment. You were learning wisdom through silence. You were learning discernment through experience. If certain opportunities had arrived earlier, you might not have handled them with the maturity you now possess. If certain responsibilities had been placed on you too soon, the pressure could have overwhelmed you. Timing protects you as much as it positions you, and tonight represents a symbolic shift into readiness, not panic, not fear of loss, but readiness built through steady evolution. You may have noticed recently that your focus has sharpened. Distractions that once consumed your energy no longer hold the same power. Conversations that revolve around negativity no longer feel attractive. You are becoming more selective with your time, more protective of your peace, more intentional about your goals. That is not isolation. It is alignment. Alignment means your habits begin to support your future instead of sabotaging it. You are thinking longer term. You are planning instead of reacting. You are investing in yourself instead of constantly seeking approval from others. These changes may feel subtle day to day, but over time they transform everything. The divine transfer is the moment you recognize this shift and consciously commit to maintaining it. There is also a shift happening in the way you see yourself. In the past, you may have defined yourself by your mistakes, by your setbacks, by the opinions of people who did not fully understand your journey. Now you are starting to separate your identity from your past errors. You are understanding that mistakes were lessons, not labels. You are realizing that rejection was redirection, not proof of inadequacy. This mental reframe is powerful because your self-perception shapes your decisions, and your decisions shape your destiny. When you see yourself as capable, you act differently. When you see yourself as worthy, you choose differently. When you see yourself as evolving, you stop punishing yourself for who you used to be. At 10 p.m. tonight, the invitation is simple but profound. Choose to step fully into the person you have been gradually becoming. Not tomorrow, not next month, not when conditions feel perfect, but now. Growth requires decisive moments where you stop negotiating with your old habits and start honoring your new standards. Maybe that means committing more seriously to your discipline. Maybe it means forgiving someone so your energy is no longer trapped in resentment. Maybe it means finally believing that you deserve stability and success instead of subconsciously expecting loss. The divine transfer happens when belief shifts from doubt to confidence. It happens when you stop waiting for external validation and start trusting your internal progress. Financially and practically, this shift also influences how you approach opportunity. Instead of chasing quick solutions, you are beginning to appreciate long-term consistency. Instead of spending energy worrying about what could go wrong, you are focusing on what you can control. Stability is built through repeated small actions, not dramatic single moments. The transfer includes upgrading your relationship with responsibility. You are becoming someone who handles pressure calmly. You are becoming someone who plans ahead. You are becoming someone who thinks strategically instead of emotionally. These traits create sustainable growth. Emotionally, you are stronger than you realize. There were nights you questioned everything, moments you felt misunderstood, times you wondered if your effort even mattered, yet you continued. You showed up. You kept learning. You kept trying. That perseverance built confidence slowly. You may not have celebrated it, but it accumulated within you. The divine transfer recognizes that accumulated strength and activates it. You are not fragile anymore. You may still feel deeply, but you do not collapse under difficulty the way you once did. You have learned that emotions are signals, not commands. You feel them, process them, and continue moving forward. Relationships are also shifting around you. Some connections may feel lighter, others more distant, and that is natural when growth occurs. Not everyone evolves at the same pace, and not every connection is meant to remain in the same form forever. The transfer involves clarity about who aligns with your future and who only fits your past. This does not require anger or confrontation. It simply requires awareness. You can wish people well while still choosing a path that supports your expansion. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is necessary for sustained growth. You are entering a season where your confidence will come from consistency rather than applause. There may not always be loud recognition, but there will be internal certainty. That certainty allows you to make bold decisions calmly. It allows you to take calculated risks without panic. It allows you to remain steady even when circumstances fluctuate. The world around you may shift unpredictably, but your inner foundation is becoming stable. That stability is the real blessing. External success without internal stability leads to chaos, but when inner strength is established first, external growth can be sustained. Tonight symbolizes awareness, not fear of losing something, but awareness of who you are becoming. Nothing truly aligned with your purpose can vanish simply because you missed a moment. What can be delayed, however, is your growth if you choose comfort over discipline. The message is not about threat, it is about focus. Stay intentional. Stay disciplined. Stay aware of your patterns. Every choice you make either reinforces your new identity or feeds your old one. Choose wisely. Choose the version of you that reflects strength, patience, and clarity. The divine transfer is not an event outside of you, it is an activation within you. It is the decision to fully embody the lessons you have learned. It is the courage to let go of limiting beliefs. It is the confidence to move forward without constantly looking back. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. You are not weak, you are refined. You are not lost, you are aligning. Growth is rarely loud, but it is powerful. And it is happening right now within you. As the night approaches, take a moment to breathe deeply and acknowledge your journey. Reflect on how far you have come, even if the destination still feels distant. Progress is built in layers, and each layer matters. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are developing. Continue showing up for yourself. Continue refining your mindset. Continue choosing discipline over distraction. The divine transfer is already unfolding in your habits, your awareness, and your steady commitment to becoming better than you were yesterday. There is a deeper layer to this divine transfer that you are only now beginning to understand, and it has less to do with what is arriving and more to do with who you are becoming as it arrives. Growth is not only about receiving something new, it is about releasing what can no longer travel with you. Over the past months, perhaps even years, you have been slowly detaching from old patterns, old fears, and old identities that once defined you. You may not have noticed it clearly because transformation often feels like confusion before it feels like clarity. But if you look honestly at yourself, you will see that your reactions have softened, your perspective has widened, and your resilience has deepened. Situations that once would have broken your confidence now only strengthen your focus. Conversations that once would have drained your energy now reveal your boundaries. This is not accidental. This is refinement. And refinement is part of the transfer. The symbolism of 10 p.m. tonight represents a crossing from one state of consciousness into another. Night often brings quiet, and quiet allows truth to surface. In silence, you begin to hear your own thoughts more clearly. In stillness, you recognize what truly matters. The divine transfer is an invitation to use that quiet space to evaluate your direction. Are your daily actions aligned with the future you desire? Are your habits supporting your growth or slowing it? Are your relationships encouraging your development or keeping you comfortable in old cycles? These questions are not meant to pressure you, they are meant to empower you. Awareness is power. Once you see clearly, you can choose clearly. You are entering a period where self-trust becomes more important than external reassurance. For a long time, you may have sought confirmation from others before making decisions. You may have waited for approval, validation, or encouragement before stepping forward. But the transfer involves shifting from dependency on outside voices to confidence in your inner voice. Your intuition has matured. Your judgment has sharpened. Your experience has taught you valuable lessons. Trusting yourself is not arrogance, it is recognition of growth. You have earned your insight through challenges, through trial and error, through reflection and correction. That wisdom is now part of your foundation. Another element of this transfer is emotional independence. You are learning that your peace cannot depend entirely on circumstances or on how others treat you. True stability comes from within. When you build your inner balance, external turbulence loses its ability to shake you deeply. That does not mean you become indifferent or disconnected, it means you become centered. You respond instead of react. You analyze instead of assume. You remain calm instead of collapsing. This emotional maturity changes everything about how you navigate opportunities, setbacks, and relationships. It allows you to maintain momentum even when things are not perfect. Financial and practical growth also become clearer during this season. You are starting to think long-term instead of focusing only on immediate results. You are becoming more disciplined with your time, more strategic with your energy, and more intentional with your decisions. Success is rarely about one dramatic breakthrough, it is about consistent alignment. Every small disciplined action compounds over time. The divine transfer symbolizes the moment you fully commit to that consistency. You stop waiting for ideal conditions. You stop postponing your potential. You begin acting as the person who already believes in their capability. There is also a subtle but powerful shift happening in your self-image. In the past, you may have seen yourself as someone trying to escape struggle. Now you are beginning to see yourself as someone building strength. That perspective changes how you interpret difficulty. Challenges become training instead of punishment. Delays become preparation instead of rejection. Growth becomes a process instead of a race. This new lens protects your confidence. It allows you to stay motivated without comparing your timeline to others. Your journey is uniquely designed around your experiences, your personality, and your lessons. Comparing it to someone else's path only distracts you from your own progress. Relationships during this time may feel clearer. Some people will naturally align more closely with your evolving mindset. Others may drift without conflict, simply because your priorities are changing. This is not loss, it is adjustment. Growth often requires space. Space allows you to reflect, to recalibrate, to refine your goals. It allows you to recognize which connections energize you and which ones exhaust you. You are becoming more selective, not because you are isolating yourself, but because you value your focus. Focus is essential for sustained transformation. The transfer also involves courage. Not dramatic, loud courage, but steady, consistent courage. The courage to maintain discipline when motivation fluctuates. The courage to say no when something does not align. The courage to continue even when results are not immediately visible. Courage is built through repetition. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you strengthen it. Every time you protect your peace instead of engaging in unnecessary conflict, you reinforce it. Every time you choose patience over impulse, you solidify it. These choices shape your future quietly but powerfully. At 10 p.m. tonight, consider it a checkpoint rather than a countdown. A checkpoint invites reflection, not fear. Ask yourself who you are becoming. Ask yourself what habits need strengthening. Ask yourself what distractions need reducing. This moment is not about losing anything, it is about recognizing what you have already gained. You have gained awareness. You have gained resilience. You have gained clarity. Those qualities cannot be taken from you. They are internal assets. They are the true foundation of lasting success. The divine transfer is the elevation of your standards. You no longer settle for environments that limit you. You no longer accept narratives that diminish you. You no longer entertain beliefs that weaken you. Raising your standards raises your outcomes. It influences who you collaborate with, how you spend your time, how you manage your responsibilities. Standards are quiet but transformative. When you consistently operate at a higher standard, your life naturally begins to reflect it. As you move forward, remember that transformation is ongoing. There is no final destination where growth stops. There are layers. There are phases. Each one builds on the previous. Tonight symbolizes the transition into a higher layer of awareness and responsibility. It marks the point where you stop doubting your capacity and start embracing it fully. You are not stepping into something foreign, you are stepping into something you have been preparing for all along. The divine transfer is already unfolding in your mindset, in your discipline, in your patience, in your strategic thinking. Continue nurturing those qualities. Continue protecting your focus. Continue trusting the process. You are not losing anything meant for you. You are evolving into someone capable of sustaining everything meant for you. That evolution is powerful, steady, and real. And it is happening right now. If you believe something is shifting in your life, comment 10 p.m. as a sign of alignment, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the message that was sent for you.